Enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI. Food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It's Tuesday, the 10th of September 2024. This is program number 1246 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Alex George Jr. Now, in addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can also get us at our website. It is rcistlucia.com. We are also streaming live on Facebook. Just search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. Please be sure to like and share that as well with your friends and family. And of course, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046, 452-3046. And you can also use a WhatsApp number. If you've got that app on your smartphone, you can save this number, 724-0008. Pretty easy to remember, 724-0008. And you can reach us via messaging in to that number, or as well, you can call in, especially, of course, if you are out of state. Now, some birthday greetings for today. We're sending out some birthday greetings to Jenny Gaia. Happy birthday to you, Jenny, and we're hoping that you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. And also to Anitra Nicholas, happy birthday to you. And we do hope that you're having a splendid celebration as well. Bit of history for today. In the year 1776, George Washington asked for a spy, and Nathan Hale volunteered to the cause. Of course, this was in the this is during the American Revolutionary War. 1813, on this day, an American naval commander, Oliver Hazard Perry, defeated the British in the Battle of Lake Erie. And of course, that was during the War of 1812. 1846, Elias Howe took out a U.S. patent for a lock stitch sewing machine. In the year 1977, Hamida Jandoubi was convicted of torture and murder. And he was, in fact, the last person to be executed by guillotine in France. 2008, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, described as the biggest scientific experiment in the history of mankind, was powered up for the first time, and that was in the suburbs of Geneva, Switzerland. And 2020, on this day, California's August complex wildfire became the largest recorded in state history, with 736 square miles of affected area being burnt. We now move on to our dish of the day. The daily dish is brought you the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+, need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Lag Street in Castries, Bosses Jugos Village, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Serving now, the Daily Dish. This has been the...
And welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. And of course, we've been experiencing quite a bit of rain. Just yesterday, we did have quite a lot. And of course, this is in the week that St. Lucia is in fact hosting its home team, the St. Lucia Kings. as part of the Caribbean Premier League. And of course, there's a match on tonight. And the St. Lucia Kings are heading up against the Trinbago team and the Night Riders. And to tell us all about the condition over at the Darren Simon Cricket Ground and what are the prospects for play, so very pleased to have, of course, Dr. Joseph Reds Pereira to give us that update. Reds, how are you doing?
Well, I'm watching a very lovely day with a nice cool wind. It's not still, which is good. There's a wind. Cottonwood clouds. I mean, if I was a painter, I would have painted a Moshi Hill in front of me with a wide range of large and small cottonwood pieces of cloud. But I think you want
not
to
too late to
play.
take up that hobby. You never know.
No. Too late in my life. I can just about paint a straight wall.
Straight
But
lines
I think
only.
you want to play. You want to play describing the rain as a little. It was a lot more than a little.
It certainly was,
It
indeed.
it was heavy, and it was almost like an English day. I mean, I don't normally sleep with a shirt, but I put on a t-shirt last night.
You're a bit chilly. Okay, cold.
It
Yeah.
got chilly, yeah. It got gray, and it just looked angry and miserable. But the sun came through this morning, and about 2 hours ago, I called Ken Crafton because I figured you might have called me. And when you're dealing with information that people are thinking, well, shall I go? Shall I not go? I live out of Greater Castries.
Right.
Even people in Castries must be wondering. Well, Ken told me that the sun has really been marvelous for the ground. There was still a little bit of moisture, but the super supper was on, and I don't believe that they have put the covers on, which means there's no sweating, but they're probably just standing by the covers. And it really looks very promising for a sharp 7 o'clock start. The one thing that could set us back is if there is another shower, but keep my fingers crossed. That doesn't seem to be around the corner, so to speak. But we have quite a few hours to go, until the ground is handed over to the umpires.
And of course, I think a lot of people will want to know and have that confidence that they will be seeing a full game of cricket tonight. I think after, unfortunately, the performance over the weekend, a lot of people perhaps may have headed home a little disappointed. But of course, they're hoping that they are going to be consistent with their support and loyalty towards the Kings this evening as they go up against the team out of Trinidad.
Yes, well, the point you made is a good one. They only batted 14.3 overs, and in a T20 game, you really have to bat every ball,
right?
And your tail enders of your low. No, I take back tail enders. That's not fair. The lower the batting has got to see themselves, as Sir Donald Bradman once told um, Franz Alexander, you're a wicketkeeper, but you're a batsman, right? And you must think yourself as a batsman. And when you go in there, you got to try and make some runs. And he did. He made almost 500 runs in 61. He never thought himself as a batsman. But I was hoping it was a one-off night. They I think the early batting was too aggressive, and maybe if you were sent in because the conditions obviously is seen by the opposition captain as good to bowl at you first. Sometimes you just got to ease the pedal a bit and sacrifice not getting the kind of runs you get in the power play and come stronger. Maybe in the last 10, 12 overs. But it's interesting that both teams have lost the game.
Right.
So it's not that the TK are arriving unbeaten. They got hurt, and they didn't. They they got hurt by losing to the Falcons, which really, is
With
putting
the
salt in the
newcomers.
wounds.
Right.
Yeah. So that could be encouraging from the Kings' point of view.
Mm.
The management of the Kings is hoping that people have already bought their tickets, that they will come, and still have the backing of the 12th man, so to speak. I mean, if you have a good crowd backing you, it's almost a vote of confidence in a sense.
Right.
But they've got to just improve in just every department. Whether they'll make changes in the batting order, I don't know. I just spoke to Wayne O'Geese, the father of Akeem
Akeem
O'Geese.
Ogis,
He
yeah.
said his son is in the right place. His mind is okay. He was going well until they run out. He had played two lovely drives down towards the players' pavilion. But everybody's has got to put their hands up here. Everybody's got to put their hands up here, and they got to put runs on the board if they bat, and vice versa. If they chase, well, they know exactly what they're chasing. But this is turning out to be a September to remember. I used to use that when I was boxing president, September to remember, when I was talking about one event. I mean, take this into consideration, my brother. You have cricket now, right? You have standing by the arrival of Julian Alfred,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have the semi-professional league waiting for an opportunity to get their playoffs going.
Right.
You have the St. Lucia national football team, which is doing well away to play matches at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Will they be expected
um,
back in St. Lucia for September?
yes,
For a
I
match?
think
Okay.
there are dates. If someone from the football association would like to call, I think the RCF match was here. You
Right.
know, so you have all that happening, and on the 20th, and I'll ask you to maybe call Rafida Paul, the ECCB,
Netball.
which
Yeah.
has sponsored that ball since my day of the OECS.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tournament that starts on the 20th, and it goes on for a week, non-stop throughout most of the afternoon games around 4 o'clock, and they go into the night.
And is that going to be up at
Unfortunately,
the?
Barbados. Pardon?
Is that up at the Beausejour indoor facility?
No. That's happening at the VG
VG
complex.
Sports Complex. Okay.
As far as I know, well, you've asked me a question there that maybe I was a bit
I was
off
just
the
thinking about
blocks
the
too
weather.
early.
I wasn't sure. Just
Yeah,
wondering.
well,
So.
I think all that could be clarified if you give Rufino Paul a call. I think I sent you the fixtures,
Mm-hmm.
and I sent you the number 4520333, and maybe you can bring her into the studio, because there's all the OECS teams are coming.
Right.
And unfortunately, I'm disappointed that Barbados and Trinidad are not exposing some younger players. They have qualified to go to the World Under 20, but they could have taken the opportunity. They normally will come to play in this tournament, right? But they have decided, since they're going foreign, as our brothers in Jamaica would say, they decided not to come. So it's a loss to the competition in a sense, but to me, it's their loss,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're building for the future, you might have a team going to an international tournament, but there must be a set of young people who could have come here and rubbed shoulders with St. Lucia and St. Kitts and St. Vincent and Grenada, and go back, a much more confident person about their netball. But I think when you look at the number of events upcoming in September, you don't think that a good description is a September to remember with the gold medalists coming home.
Oh, certainly. I think people will definitely need that holiday on the 27th, given the fact that there's quite a lot to take in. Actually, wasn't aware of that netball competition. I do know that they had a fundraiser at the VG Sports Complex over the weekend, but
Yeah.
didn't make that connection. In fact, it was for
Yeah,
this upcoming
and the
competition.
question you asked is a good one. Where is it being held? I mean, like for example, St. Lucia's been awarded the Caribbean Boxing Championships in middle of December, and with the uncertainty of the rain and the problems it will cause, it does cause at the VG where you can't cover everything. Although
Hmm.
the last bit of cover was much improved, it well might go to the indoor center. The problem there is if you get people in, you need to have a collaboration with the gross labor service
Right.
that buses will be there so people at least can get back out by the gas station, can get out by the fire station.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
just, I mean, in Trinidad, a couple of weeks ago, you had a match at the Brian Lara. There were buses taking people in.
Okay.
The buses was not there to take people back out. People were walking on the highway.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I mean,
a
there were
good
all
walk if
sorts of
that's the
people.
case. But I mean, you're raising it, of course, and you have been speaking about a lot of, in terms of honoring of Julian and whatnot. And I think to Barbados, where you have, of course, quite a lot of very prominent individuals, let's say out of cricket, for instance, sporting heroes like Sir Garfield Sobers. And
Yeah,
interestingly enough, um, the cricket ground, of course, didn't get his name. They kept the name Kensington, but they actually did develop over in Widley a complete complex for sport, a new
yep,
sports
yeah,
complex
yes, and the
named
names is
named
after
after
him.
Garfield
Yeah,
Sobers. And
yeah,
as you're mentioning, of course, the need for this, having something like a netball competition, a lot of these courts, the need perhaps for a similar type of Garfield Sobers gymnasium type of structure, to especially given the fact that in Castries we have so much rain, so it might be something to think about, certainly.
Well, it's something that I did raise with the Honorable Ganson Casimir, the possibility of covering VG. And he said that it was something, I don't want to use a lewd word in his bucket list. It was something which he has got planned to do. I think he said some drawings might have been done. But I mean, the previous government had talked about that.
Yeah, I do
And if
recall
you come,
Fortuna Belrose at
yeah,
one point when I'm not sure if she was actually
yeah.
Minister of Sport at the time, but I do know she had mentioned this concept of doing something like that with the VG Sports Complex. Yeah,
Well, I'll go further. I think the former prime minister also mentioned that. Um, it not
pretty
just help
small though,
boxing.
pretty tight that space to be able to do it.
Pardon?
I said a pretty tight space though to achieve such a complex
Well,
there.
I mean, maybe that's a plus. If you're covering a large area, you know, that's major. But I think it will help basketball. It will help volleyball. It will help netball. It will help any event that you put there if it's covered.
Hmm.
But I mean, you can get so many things done, in terms of time, in terms of budget, in terms of what takes priority. But
Right.
it's just something that the honorable minister has got to sort of see his own priority in terms of the needs of sport. But would you try and get maybe a call to Rufina Paul so she can explain not only where it's been held, but the actual number of teams coming in? I think CNA
Yeah, I,
officials are
I
coming
actually
in.
got the schedule thanks to, I suppose I could mention her name, Safia, who's of course Rufina's daughter, and it does in fact indicate that it's happening on the at the Beausejour indoor facility.
Oh,
So
well, right, all right.
the games actually seem to be kicking off from Sunday, the 22nd of September.
There's an opening ceremony.
There is an opening ceremony at 2 o'clock at the Beausejour indoor facility, and the matches continue up to Sunday the 29th of
Yes,
September. So, and in fact, there's a closing ceremony at the same facility there.
exactly. I
So
think it's going to be streamed. It's going to be streamed as far as I know. Um,
eight
whether there'll be
participating countries
radio coverage.
indicated, including Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, the Cayman Islands, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes,
So that
it's gone back to the original OECS. It's gone back to the original OECS. It was then changed to widen it. I think Barbados, Trinidad, and maybe even Jamaica might have played one year, but that's not happening this year. But you got to simply accept the fact that people make decisions, and you got to go with what you have.
mm-hmm.
Well, that no doubt, I'm sure that the executive is talking to the Rosalie um, bus group.
Right. Well, I mean,
And
your point is made, of course, that there is quite a lot to take in terms of sport over the coming month, and of course, even beyond that, November, I think you did mention 3 T20s coming up as well.
yes, that's
England.
right. That's right. Three T20s and maybe boxing in the middle of December.
Wow. Okay.
So it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And the Premier League is waiting for a window to play their semi-finals. I think they've gotten to that stage.
Mm.
And of course, they're obviously hoping to play it at the Darren Semi.
Indeed.
So it's just a matter of hoping that the weather will stay well and everybody can be able to fit it in. But I think it would be good if you can have sometime Rafina Paul in to give as much details as possible, because they are looking for a decent crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to appeal to the St. Lucian women to come out and support Caribbean women.
Indeed. Indeed.
I don't believe they're going to charge a pound and a crown, but it's vital that you're not just supporting the Kings or you're supporting football, but you support female sport. And maybe with respect to what Julian Alfred have done, you can come out and support the young netballers, not only of St. Lucia, but the young netballers of the sub-region.
Right. Well, Reds, thanks so very much for that. And we do hope things are going to go well tonight in favor of the
I
Kings.
assume you're going to cricket?
I'm hoping to be there, God willing. Yes, I haven't gotten a appropriate T-shirt as yet, but we'll still be there, certainly, no doubt about it. And
I asked some very interesting questions the other night. Who are you watching?
I think it's pretty obvious. But your take though on the captaincy, and I noticed some people were questioning whether we should still have Faf as the captain. Your take on that? Any opinion?
Well, I think when a captain doesn't get runs in the early matches, you will have people who will start sort of whispering that
Mm.
he comes good tonight, and that goes through the window.
Right.
And if he puts together a knock tonight, I mean, it's going to be a substantial knock, and I think he will know more than anyone else that he's shorter runs, and the team really needs him to build a substantial score as close to 200 as possible. But everybody else must also feel that they fell short against the Warriors, and they've got to come good tonight.
Well, let's hope so, indeed. Let's hope the
And the
boys
weather
have a good time.
continues to be lovely, so I don't think this is going to change, but who knows? Let me simply say what it is as we close off.
Fingers crossed on that one. Thanks a lot, Reds, again,
Bye.
for
Bye.
keeping us informed as to what to look forward to. And we do hope it all goes very well with the St. Lucia Kings tonight at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground. And that's our dish of the day. When we come back, we'll be taking in our weather report.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries. Bosses, you Lane, and Slack Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have tiles and king sets, pieces and ground. Everything you need is on the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality rice, service choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Bellarosa, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And that's all, of course, to the 1.1. It's now time for your weather report as of top one today, presented by Island Style Talent Bar. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between the east and east-southeast near 13 miles per hour or 20 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter and variable or calm at times. The weather fair skies becoming cloudy at times with a few scattered showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. The forecast for Little Antilles, fair skies becoming cloudy at times with widely scattered showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. The tropical weather outlook, moisture and instability associated with a weak tropical wave will produce some scattered showers and possibly isolated thunderstorms over the Lesser Antilles during the next 24 hours. An area of low pressure located over the central tropical Atlantic is moving westward near 10 miles per hour or 17 kilometers per hour. This system has a medium chance of tropical cyclone formation during the next 7 days. A second tropical wave located over the far eastern tropical Atlantic is moving westward near 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. This wave is expected to merge with an area of low pressure located over the eastern tropical Atlantic and has a high chance of tropical cyclone development during the next 7 days. And this was the weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island Style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island Style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island Style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island Style.
We have tiles and king sets, pieces and ground. Everything you need is on the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality rice, service choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Bellarosa, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. Or call us on 450-452 or 453 Tile. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Of course, if you'd like to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also message in to our WhatsApp number. That is 724-0008. And of course, you can message or call in on that number. Good afternoon to all those who are following on our Facebook stream as well. Hope you guys are good today. The House of Assembly is meeting, in fact, right now, and that's happening not in the old Treasury building or the where the Parliament has been for many decades now, since 1952 or thereabouts. It's actually currently meeting at the Finance Administrative Center, and that is due to some remedial works that are being done on the parliamentary chamber, apparently due to issues of indoor air quality in that chamber. So, in fact, they are meeting in the conference facility of the Finance Administrative Center. And a number of bills down for consideration, inclusive things that deal with insolvency, for example. And no doubt we'll be hearing some more about that as the day goes by. Not present being the leader of the opposition, he sent in his apologies, indicating that he would not be able to attend. Now, in terms of the day, of course, we quite often mark the history of the day. In the case of St. Lucia, of course, today marks the 30th anniversary of Tropical Storm Debbie's passing over the island of St. Lucia. And that happened back on the 10th of September 1994. And of course, it caused a tremendous amount of damage to St. Lucia, as well as, I believe, some other islands in the Caribbean, including Dominica, for example. And for those individuals, millennials like myself, who perhaps were not around when you had the hit of Hurricane Allen, Tropical Storm Debbie effectively was the most noted weather event growing up, certainly. And of course, the impact that it had was quite tremendous. Although it only had winds of about 40 miles per hour, the impact of the rainfall certainly was quite telling. And in fact, it led to a fair number of individuals actually losing their lives as well as a result of that. And the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Response Agency indicated that there were, in fact, 4 people dead and 6 persons missing. Well, as a result of 24 injured as well, as a result of the passage of Tropical Storm Debbie. 150 persons were, in fact, placed into emergency shelters as a result of that event. A number of landslides, some of which really changed the view and the landscape of the country. And in particular, I recall a very noticeable landslide on the highest mountain in the north of the island, that of La Sorcière. And there were many others as well. And it is certainly a reminder of the impact uh, of the weather of this tropical season that we are in, this hurricane season that we are in, and the damage that it in fact can supply. Significant damage to roads as a result of many of these landslides. Many roads were impassable, but in fact, many roads were impassable as well because of the flooding. And one could perhaps remember the scenes in the Cul-de-sac Valley, where pretty much as far as you could see from coming down the Mon Road was just water across the this brown, heavily silted water, flood water, which effectively took up nearly the entire valley bottom, and certainly it caused for some significant damage to the island's infrastructure. Water was also significantly impacted, the water supply. At that time in 1994, there was, in fact, that ongoing construction of what is now the John Compton Dam, the Roseau Dam, and that certainly faced some setback as a result of Tropical Storm Debbie. It is believed, in fact, that significant loss of livelihoods was experienced as well as a result of Debbie. I think somewhere in the region of over 240 million EC dollars worth of damage. In particular, the banana sector was severely impacted. And of course, you would recall at that point, you still had a substantial production of bananas in St. Lucia. And that certainly took a significant blow as a result of the flooding that inundated those banana fields. And in some instances, even the impact of wind was also noted. So it certainly was a major event in terms of the impact that was noted. And again, according to some of the assistance that had been provided during that time, things like Bailey bridges were provided by the UK government, and of course, relief supplies for a number of countries, including our sister islands like Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent, Dominica, coming, even the BVI coming on board to provide aid at that time. So, of course, it is always good to remember those who came to our assistance, because, of course, there are islands right now which are still facing the devastated impact of Hurricane Beryl. And so let us not certainly forget the islands of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, and those in the Grenadines in St. Vincent, of course, who certainly are still dealing with the significant impact and loss of roofs and buildings, and it certainly is still a recovery process for those islands at this time. And of course, we still have some time to go before the end of this hurricane season. So we certainly cannot afford to be putting our guard down in that regard, given the fact that we could still potentially be seeing some significant hurricanes, especially if things maintain kept very hot. The oceans will not be our friends as a result of that. And of course, the months of October and November, September, October, November, really are the peak season, peak part of that, of the hurricane season here in the Atlantic. So let's hope that we don't see anything, but of course, we do need to remember to be prepared in that regard. Now, of course, as I mentioned, the number to call in is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. Yesterday, I just want to make a mention that it was actually Africa CARICOM Day, and that is being noted. It was noted, and there was an appeal actually to wear, African wear, as it had been termed, and of course the idea that you have lots of different styles and patterns of cloth patterns out of Africa, from different parts of Africa, different styles of fashion, and as part of that sense of connection, the appeal being made to actually wear African wear. Perhaps now, of course, even as part of the Journée Creole celebrations, we saw quite a lot of debate over the years when we saw a growing number of individuals actually putting on what potentially could be considered African wear, different cloth patterns, instead of the traditional madras style outfits that were quite common. And there was, of course, a big debate as to whether it was in fact Creole and whether there should be, some sort of separation of the two. But whatever the case may be, certainly the importance of identification, of identifying by way of dress, is something useful to take on, especially given the realities of our environment. And in fact, I think, too, to a certain degree, even uh, institutions like Parliament, which are meeting right now, one should ask the question whether in fact, having a dress code which still requires individuals to wear lounge suits and what have you, is still really appropriate for our time and our context within this island. Of course, you would have seen over the years in certain places a change away from that style of dress, of course, and uh, you see in China, for example, a particular style of dress that is used, which is considered to be Chinese. And of course, many different parts of the world have embraced it in styles. In Cuba, for instance, the shirt jack, the guayabera, has been embraced. And perhaps not necessarily to be very prescriptive as to say, well, you have to wear one thing, have to wear a lounge suit. Perhaps there could be some welcome of diversity in terms of what is seen to be acceptable by way of dress, including in places like Parliament. So something to think about, no doubt, and to put on perhaps the plates of the presiding officers of these respective chambers within the Parliament. In the United States, a lot of people are going to be looking forward to tonight. And in fact, perhaps a lot of St. Lucians are also, especially those who may not be looking to head to the cricket, could very well be glued to the TV to take in the debate that is expected to be happening. The first debate between the two presidential candidates for the upcoming elections, the 2024 November elections. And of course, Donald Trump will be squaring off against Vice President Kamala Harris. And it'll be very interesting to see how that goes down. Of course, there was that moment, that time in previous show offs, previous debates between Biden and Trump, uh, lots of jeering perhaps of Biden, given the fact that he may not have remembered fully, or seemed to have been a little bit incoherent here and there. And now you have the tables being turned, where it is now Trump who is in fact the one who is being accused of messing up here and there. And so, of course, it'll be pretty interesting to see how that goes down. But of course, the debate will be a very interesting battle between those two candidates, and to really get a sense as to where they stand on a number of the various issues. I mean, we have seen a lot of individuals claiming, and particularly young people, that they still want greater clarity from the Vice President Kamala Harris in terms of some of her policies with respect to the economy. Of course, that is a major issue uh, in the United States, as it is in every presidential election, perhaps. Of course, there has been lots of other areas where Harris has been speaking quite forcefully about, and which seem to be pretty divisive issues in respect of the United States of America, the issue of women's rights and their right to abortion, which has been termed as freedom of choice. Of course, in dealing with those issues, that has become a very, very divisive issue, and which has pretty much spread the created sort of a dichotomy within the United States of America. And a lot of women, of course, supporting Vice President Kamala Harris, particularly because of that issue. But of course, that is the reality of democracy. There'll be many, many, many different issues. And at the end of the day, you end up electing an individual. You don't necessarily end up voting on particular policies, and that, of course, means that you may very well agree with some of the policies of one individual versus some of the policies on another individual, the other candidate, and it may be a very difficult way to decide which way to go. And for some camps, for some demographics, they are in fact being faced with some very difficult questions as to who to in fact support. You're seeing, for instance, there were a lot of issues with respect to um, we could say, I suppose, Muslims in America, or individuals who were identifying with the cause of Palestine, especially given the situation in Gaza right now, and of course another very influential group, those of the Jewish community within the United States of America. Of course, the second largest Jewish population in the world, outside of Israel, is the United States of America, and they've highly influential and generally support the Democratic Party. And of course, you are seeing that this issue has become quite a bit of a dividing issue, which could potentially mean that other individuals who don't support the stance of Israel and the Netanyahu government may decide that they simply won't go out to support the Democratic Party come the election. So there are certainly a lot of major points where the two individuals will, of course, have significant showdowns. It will be very interesting. Of course, the big question is whether, in fact, it can remain civil. And we have seen Mr. Trump on many occasions become pretty much a bit of a jabber in terms of going after individuals and lots of name calling, stuff that you would think would be left out of a debate of that level and of that nature. But unfortunately, quite often it ends up being way too much dominated by the jeering and the name calling, which we have seen in the past. So, as to whether, in fact, it's going to be a lot more of that, well, chances are he's not going to change at this point. And so it'll be very interesting to see how it all goes down, no doubt about it. I'm sure Vice President Harris will have some jabs of her own, particularly in terms of the issues of Trump and his cases, his criminal cases, those are. Now, quick mention of the upcoming return of Julian Alfred. And yesterday, there was, in fact, an announcement made by the Prime Minister during a pre cabinet press briefing, indicating that Julian Alfred will be coming home on the 24th of September. And she'll be part of a series of celebrations which have been indicated, and we of course have a bit of a list here. There'll be an arrival ceremony for her at the airport, and she's due to come in somewhere around 3:30 in the afternoon on that September the 24th. That's in 2 Tuesdays from now. And then there will be a motorcade leaving the Hiwanora International Airport up the East Coast up to Grosile. I'm not too sure in terms of the nature of the closing of that motorcade in Grosile, in terms of whether there's going to be anything at the end there, but that's the information that we've been provided thus far. On September the 25th, the following day, Julian will be participating in some schools rallies, and there are two of those planned. One is going to be in the Soufriere mini stadium, and the other at the Larry Seuss playing field in the Mabuya Valley. So one will be in the morning and the other in the afternoon. There is also going to be a visit planned to the Cicero Primary School, which is the one of her alma maters, and she's in fact going to be unveiling a mural at that primary school. Of course, this is the community that she hails from, and that's going to be happening on the 26th, Thursday the 26th, at about 11 o'clock. And on the Friday, there is in fact going to be a holiday, Julian Alfred Day. It has been dubbed. And that Friday, of course, will culminate with a free show, a free concert, celebratory concert at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground. And I think that is, in fact, the crescendo of events for Julian's time. And that'll be happening at 4 o'clock at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground on Friday, the 27th of September. National concert, and no doubt lots of honoring, and perhaps also, no doubt, a lot of announcements being made in terms of how Julian is going to be honored. Of course, as we are looking forward to that significant show of national pride. Julian Alfred, of course, bringing home St. Lucia's first and second medals at the Olympics, the first time ever. St. Lucia winning 2 medals, and that is gold and silver at the Paris Summer Olympics. And so, no doubt about it, there'll be lots to take in as we look forward to that event coming up, celebrating Julian Alfred. I did mention a bit on the upcoming tournament, which Reds did in fact indicate for us, that ECCB International Netball Series. This is also going to be happening very soon, coming up this Sunday. It's going to be interesting because actually, so not this Sunday, sorry, the Sunday the 22nd. This Sunday will be all about cricket, but Sunday the 22nd will be the kickoff of that ceremony, this international netball series being sponsored by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. In fact, the bank is on island, and I think doing its rounds of presentations. So welcome to them. And the participating countries are Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Cayman Islands, Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So Cayman Islands coming from outside of the OECS, everybody else coming from the OECS. So the first match kicks off at 3:30 on the 22nd. That will be St. Lucia versus Montserrat. There will be 4 matches every day up until, well, there'll be 4 matches. There won't be a match on the Friday, the 27th, and perhaps maybe they had some forewarning regarding that Friday. In fact, there's going to be free time for the netballers on that Friday. Although there is a bit of a training session that they have with the ECCB, but beyond that, Friday is a no match day, but Saturday and Sunday, the 28th and the 29th, matches will continue straight through, and that's happening at the Beausejour Indoor Facility Netball International Netball Series. So certainly lots to take in with respect to sport and celebrating the achievements of our athletes, our sportsmen and women in the coming days ahead. That's our program for today. And of course, we do hope that you have a good time at cricket. Sorry, we noticed some calls coming in, but we'll have to perhaps take them on tomorrow at our next show. I'm your host, Alex Shaw Jr., saying goodbye.